Don Sebastian, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, let's hear it. Very fabulous. Comedy star of the Aztec. Don Sebastian.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is Saturday night. We usually don't do dirty stories to start off with, but sometimes you get a story that's so good. It's cute. I would say it's great. It's cute. It's a cute story. And you got to tell it. Let's face it. This is a story I got in the men's room, which is where I usually get the stories. They wait until I'm in there standing. I can't move. You know, I got to listen. You know. You think I'm kidding you? I went into the men's room one day, just kidding around. You know, I went, I just made it. Right away, the guy next to me says, I got a joke about that. So what's the joke? He says, a big colored fellow walked into the men's room. He said, I just made it. A little Jewish fellow next to him says, could you make a white one like that for me? Listen, I got guys that come over and tell you stories weird. When one guy come up to me and says, how do you get a tiger in a tank? I says, I don't know. He says, you kick him in the gas hole. I tell you these nutty things, you know. Boy. And one guy come over and says, what do you give an elephant that's got diarrhea? I says, I don't know. He says, plenty of room. By the way, they have a couple that just got married 2 days. They're sitting in the back of the room. It's good to see them up and around again. Two nuts. Two nuts. How the hell are they on your honeymoon? 2 days they're down here watching the show. We should go up to their room and watch their show. It would be a lot better. Huh? What happened to the old days? I got married 22 years ago. Hotel Niagara. I stayed for 3 weeks. Never left the room. They thought we were dead. Yeah, they sent the doctor up. He threw some hot water on us. We separated, you know. Oh, it is. Glad to see they're here. They must have missed a pill. That's why they're here. And you hear about the woman that went to the doctor? She said, the birth control pills don't work. He says, why not? She said, they keep falling out. Sure, if you keep talking, you know. All kidding aside, I've got to tell you a couple of stories I heard before we start the show. Some of them were really deserving of telling. Some of them are beautiful. Like the little Italian guy that went to confession, and the priest says, you haven't been to church for 40 years? My goodness, you must have a lot of sins. He says, I got no sins. He says, you mean after 40 years you don't have one sin? He says, I told you I got no sins. Well, the priest says, 2 Hail Marys, 2 Our Fathers, but don't forget to go to communion tomorrow. The next morning, there he is sitting in the front pew. The priest gets up on the pulpit. He says, today, our discussion is going to be on the attendance of church regularly. There are some of you, as a matter of fact, there's one of you in our midst who hasn't been to church for 40 years. Just then the little Italian guy jumped up. He says, aha, it's a good thing I don't tell you everything. You got a big mouth. What are you going to do? Crazy stuff. These are the stories. I had one that was... Here's one that's really a goofball. This is a goofball story. A little Italian woman comes over from Italy. So her nephew takes her over to see the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, and he takes her to see all the places. They got some time left, so he takes her, of all places, Yankee Stadium. This is the early 40s. Yogi Berra and Joe DiMaggio are on the same team. Picture this. Yogi Berra gets up at bat. She says, that's Italian a boy? He says, yeah. She says, head to the ball, Yogi. Head to the ball, and he hits a home run. She says, run, Yogi, run, Yogi. Now Joe DiMaggio gets up. You know he's a home run king. They're not going to pitch to him. You hear ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4. She says, run to Joe, run to Joe. He says, he can't run. He's got 4 balls. She says, walk a proud, Joe. Walk a proud. That's Italian a ball. How about the woman, a little Jewish woman, calls up the doctor, 4:30 in the morning. The doctor says to his wife, if it's for me, tell him I'm out. Whoever it is, I don't care. I'm tired. The wife says, yes, who is it? She said, this is Mrs. Greenbaum. Oh, she said, Mrs. Greenbaum, I'm terribly sorry. The doctor's not in. She said, well, maybe you could help. She said, well, if I can, what is it? She says, the medicine. I should take it in the morning at night before I go to sleep. Well, she said, hang on a minute, will you please? It's Mrs. Greenbaum. She wants to know she should take the medicine in the morning and night. Oh, take it at night before you go to sleep. She says, could I ask you another question? She says, yes, what is it? She said, the pills. I should take them twice a day or 3 times a day. Well, she says, hang on a minute, will you please? Take him 3 times a day. She says, could I ask another question? She says, yes, what is it? The fellow in bed with you, he's a doctor? Here's a quickie for you. Here's a guy walking down the street with his fly open. The guy says, what are you doing? He says, I'm experimenting. He says, you're experimenting? He says, yeah. Last night I walked around with my collar open. I got a stiff neck. Who knows? These are the stories they tell you, you know. How about the two Italian guys went to LBJ, says, we want $3 billion. We're going to build a rocket ship to go to the sun. LBJ says, we didn't even go to the moon yet. You're going to go to the sun. How are you going to go to the sun? You get all burned up. How are you going to do it? He says, it's stupid that we're going to go at night. Can we start with sex as a category? Yeah, they're all for it, all right, huh? All right, we'll find out what kind of sense of humor you have. Sex as a category, all right? You about the two rabbits? One said to the other, come on, it won't hurt, did it? How about the two German doctors? One said to the other, Fritz, we have discovered a new way to make babies. Fritz says, that's a shame. The old way was so nice. How about the Jewish fellow went into a monastery, came out a schmunk? How about the secretary told her boy she found a new position? He said, fine, lock the door. How about the guy 95 went to the doctor? He said, doctor, I want my sex lowered. The doctor says, 95. It's all in your head. He said, that's what I mean. I want it lowered. How about the woman who went to the dentist to have a tooth extracted? I'm afraid I'm going to have to give you an Novocaine. Oh, she said, I'd rather have a baby. He said, well, make up your mind before I adjust the chair. They're not too sure about the subject, I'll tell you that now. How about the two guys, 85? One guy says, they found the secret of sex. He said, what is it? He says, pumpernickel bread. He says, pumpernickel bread? He says, yeah, pumpernickel bread. He goes down to the bakery. He says, let me have $10 worth of pumpernickel bread. The girl says, $10 worth of pumpernickel bread? It'll get hard. He says, make it $20. $30. What are we going to do with this group here tonight? How about the guy walking down the streets of Paris, France? Picks up this call girl. He says, how much for the night? She says, $50. She says, $50. She said, yeah, what'd you expect to pay? He said, well, I figured $10. She said, get lost. The next morning, he's sitting in a sidewalk cafe, having a little breakfast with his wife. Who comes by? The same call girl. She recognizes him. She says, see what you get for $10? You know, I don't know. The folks back there don't seem to be too sure about this category. Well, I'm going to try one more. If they don't get it, we're going to change categories, all right? Here's a Chinaman sitting at the end of the bar. At the other end is a hustler. Shoots pool. 8-ball, Chicago, rotation. You guys haven't been to the pool room lately. There she is. Things are kind of quiet. She walks up to the Chinaman. She says, hello there, big boy. What are you doing? He said, what do you say we go to my place? Have a couple of drinks, huh? Things are slow. Up she goes, right? 15 minutes of boozing and up, 1 hour of passionate love. The broad is fagged out, but not the Chinaman. He gets up, he gets these bars he's got hanging, chins himself 50 times, throws himself on the floor, does 50 push-ups, gets on the end of the bed, somersaults under the bed, comes back up on top on the other side, makes love for another hour. The broad is dying. But not the Chinaman. He jumps up, gets these bars, he chins himself 50 times, throws himself on the floor, does 50 push-ups, gets on the end of the bed, somersaults under the bed, goes back up on top, makes love for another hour. The broad says there must be something to these damn push-ups. She creeps out of bed. She grabs the bars, 49, 50, throws herself on the floor, 49, 50, gets on the end of the bed, somersaults under the bed, there's 2 more Chinamen. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? They didn't get it back. I think that group came for a novena. Maybe they like religious stories. Let's try a religious story. 2 nuns on a trolley car in Philadelphia. I always say Philadelphia because that's the city of brotherly love. A lot of queers, the whole time. Hear about the 2 queers walking down the highway. They meet each other. One says, hey, where the hell you been? Oh, he says, I just got married. He says, do I know him? He says, no, I married one of the other kind. He says, you married a girl? He says, yeah. He says, you mean you kiss her? He says, yeah. He says, you mean you have sex with her? He says, yeah. He says, how is it? Well, he says, it's all right, but it's not like the real thing. You never know. That's the place. That's the place where Benjamin Franklin was flying a kite, and his wife yelled, Ben, you need more tail. He said, how do you like this? Last night she told me to go fly a kite. Philadelphia. The 2 nuns are on a trolley car. They're doing a crossword puzzle. One nun turns to the other. She says, what's a 4-letter word that ends in I-T and you find at the bottom of a bird cage? She says, I don't know. A few minutes later, an elderly gentleman taps on the shoulder. He says, sister, I heard the question, and the word is grit. G-R-I-T. Oh, she said, thank you very much, sir. She says, sister, do you have an eraser? I wonder what she put down. Hey, you gotta be careful with these kind of jokes. You don't want to, you know what it is. You see, I worry. Everybody thinks I'm not going to get to heaven, you know. I'm going to make it, don't worry, just for processing. I tell you something, you know Flushing and Knickerbocker Ave, you know what it's all about, that area. This is a poverty area originally. There are many, many churches in this particular area. That's a fact. And in the poor areas, you know, there's always churches. In the rich area, you only see one or two, you know. They don't have to pray. They got it already. We got to pray. And where did we get the altar boys in this neighborhood? I'll tell you where we get them, man. Were you ever an altar boy, sir? Were you? What kind of an altar boy were you? You were a bad one. There was never good ones in my neighborhood. We had one kid, he was robbing hubcaps on Saturday. On Sunday, he was an altar boy. The first Sunday he served Mass, I'll never forget it. A little Italian kid named Richard Kinsemi. I'll never forget it. The first Sunday, they found him drunk behind the altar. He found the wine. The second Sunday, they made him ring the bells. Ding, 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 ding. 400 people flogged themselves to death. He kept ringing the bells. It was a massacre. Can you picture this kind of a kid? Here it is Sunday morning. St. Patrick's Cathedral. Rockefeller's going to attend Mass. The priest is all excited. He's got the flowers on the altar and the candles. But then he remembers he's got this kid who's an altar boy is going to do something wrong. You don't want to hurt the kid's feelings, you know. Religious men, they try to be kind, you know. But he's got to do something with this kid, so he decides in the course of action. There's only one thing to do. Give him a short job, a small job. Keep him out of the way. He calls him over and says, listen, I want you to go into the vestry. And when you hear me say the angels lit the candles, you light 2 candles, you come out, genuflex, place the candles on the altar, genuflex, and return. Have you got that? He says, yeah, Father. When you say the angels lit the candles, I light 2 candles, I come out, genuflex, with the candle on the altar, genuflex, and return. He says, and please don't do nothing else. 45 minutes the priest is preaching. There's the governor sitting out front. And the priest is giving it the Latin stuff. Hey, dominoes and checkers, volleyball or ping pong. Hey, domino Nabiscos, give me the graham crackers. Hey, those are my cookies. Hey, Orino Potente, and the angels lit the candles. And the kid don't come out. He says he's drunk again. Oh, maybe he didn't hear me. Hey, Orino Potente, and the angels lit the candles. He still don't come out. He says I should have sent him to the synagogue. Now he's infuriated. Hey, Orino Potente, and the angels lit the candles. And from the vestry, you hear a voice say, and the cat peed on the matches. What am I doing? What are we going to do? We got to start the show, all kidding aside. Now, some of you folks have been here before. You know what I do. This is my real category. I insult nationalities. But I do it in fun. You know, I don't like to hurt anybody's feelings. This is all in fun, really. And to prove that it's all in fun, I would like to start with my people first, all right? I happen to be Italian. You must have guessed this by now, right? How many Italians we got in here tonight? Where's the Italian? Don't put up your hand! I think you surrender! Forza Natal! Tutti Italiano! Come on, let's hear it now! Madonna, what a group tonight. This is great. This is wonderful. When you think about it, we were the first minority group in this country. That's right. Don't listen to Martin Luther King. We were the first ones. That's right. You want me to prove it to you? Was Columbus Italian? And was the whole crew Spanish on the whole 3 ships? Am I right? Can you imagine this one Italian with all them Spaniards? Huh? He used to hear remarks like, hey, this guinea's going to get us killed. That ain't bad enough. When he landed on shore, one Indian turned to the other and said, well, there goes the neighborhood. And the Indian behind him says, hey, facete vi cazzo voi. It was an Italian Indian, a Wapaho. My father came from Sicily, Palermo. 25 years in this country. After 25 years, he studied to become an American citizen. All this time, he finally got his chance. He got before the immigration judge, and he said, Judge Juan, I've been in this country 25 years. In the 25 years, I learned the Constitution, Declaration of Independence. I read English a little bit, and I write English a little bit. Mine think I'm going to pass this test because I talk this way. And the judge says, hey, don't you worry, you're going to pass. How about the little Italian guy that walks in a lingerie shop? He says, I like to buy my wife a brassiere. And the guy says, what size? He says, a 6 and a 7/8. He says, where the hell did you get that from? He says, I measure with the hand. Got to make a measurement. So how far does it go? Right. For sure. I want you folks to know something. Anything I say in Italian, I repeat in English immediately after. Yeah, sometimes I got to clean it up, let's face it. But we Italians, we have a very descriptive language. This is the truth. Did you ever analyze it? Huh? If you tell an Italian a lie, he don't go into a big dissertation about, oh, you're full of baloney, I don't believe that stuff, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. One simple thing wipes it all out. He raises his hand, he says, hey. That's it. That wipes it right out. Am I right? And I want to tell you something. We Italian peoples, we've been picked on. I want to tell you something. I heard the funny stories in New York. Why do Italians wear pointed shoes? They kill the cockroaches in the corner. Sign on the garbage truck, we cater Italian weddings. All the main hall covers in New York are painted orange, Italian Howard Johnson. We're going to get everybody, buddy, I'm telling you now. Everybody. I'm picking on you. You know what they did in Chicago last week? Crossed the Jew with a Pollock. You know what they got? A janitor. But he owns the building. They've been picking on us Italians ever since World War II, when the Americans and the Italians were fighting occasionally. The Americans were knocking up the Italians left and right. They had the gimmick. They used to yell out, hey, Giuseppe, he's over here! Well, the Italian captain got mad. They were knocking pretty good, you know. He called his men over. He says, hey, we need a car. Come over here. Domani mattina, tomorrow morning, when they were the front, when we go to the front, you yell out their job and they send them up, it's my job. When they stand up, we'll let them have it. The next morning, there's the Italian troops. Hot Joe. Hot Joe. Joe! Suddenly a voice says, Joe's not here. Is that you, Giuseppe? He said, yeah! They pick on us Italians. What can I tell you? But I want to tell you something. We Italians are like everybody else. Strangely enough, a sense of humor is necessary for any kind of storytelling, especially with the Italians. We have a sense of humor, but we also have a little thing that sometimes doesn't make sense. I know I come from an Italian family, and when I hear my mother once in a while come up with statements like, don't go near that woman, she'll give you the Malloy kiss. You know what the Malloy kiss are? The evil eye. Egon, right? Don't put them like that, right? Now you laugh because you people who are not Italian say, isn't that ridiculous? But stop and think about it. The Irish have the leprechauns. Whoever saw them? The Jews have got the leprechauns. Whoever saw them? Or the Conahurras. In the islands, they got the voodoos. So what's the matter? We can't have Umaloik, am I right? But some of these cures are ridiculous. You know how they test Umaloik? And this is a Maloika test. You got to make it. They take a bowl. They put water in it. And little, usually it's Donna Maria who does this kind of work. She comes up, che succede, you know. What happened, right? She puts a little olive oil in the water. If the oil breaks up, the kid is doomed. In 30 years, I've never seen the water break, the oil stay together. It always breaks up, right? Because she makes a living like this. She removes the evil eye. You know how she does it? Wait till you hear this. 40 cloves of garlic stringed together, needle and thread around the neck, a garlic lay. Salt in the shoes, a half a pound in each shoe. This is to keep the spirits out. On the navel. Well, not on the navel because it would be painful. By the underwear. A red ribbon, not skull cut, with a pair of horns hanging down. Now, you would think that this is ridiculous, but I got news for you. You don't cure the kid, it makes him sicker. The garlic turns green. The kid is bent over, the pin is pinching him. The salt is swelling up his feet. Donna Maria saves his life. You know how? She removes the garlic. She removes the salt and the horns, right? And the red ribbon, right? But she gets paid for this. Well, this Donna Maria, they used to give her eggs and all kinds of stuff. One woman gave her a pedigree dog, a little German schnauzer. The dog was flapping his ears all day long, scratching his ears. She went down to the veterinarian. The veterinarian immediately took the garlic, put it around the dog's neck. The salt on his paws. Now, actually what he did, he told her. He said, look, this dog has some hair matted up in his ear. What I suggest you do, rather than remove it surgically, go down to the drugstore, ask for a tube of Nair that the women use. He'll tell you how to use it. She goes down there, she says, Mr. Drugstore, I like to have a tube of Nair, and I want you to tell him how to use them. He says, well, madam, if you're going to put it on your arms, you put it on for 3 minutes and you remove it. If you're going to put it on your legs, you put it on for 6 minutes and you remove it. She said, man, you don't stand there. I'm going to put it on my schnauzer. Well, he says, in that case, put it on for a week, but don't ride a bicycle. See, we're going to get everybody, don't worry. And what I want to tell you see what I mean? A sense of humor, what we need. You think the Italians have a sense of humor? Every affair you go to, you see people in their own environment. For example, you go to a Jewish wedding. You want to have a good time? Go to a Jewish wedding. They have a ball. All night long, they drink the bit and they go. They have a good time. Am I right? I went to a Polish wedding 1 month. I thought it was never going to end. Now, they have a good time. But the Italians, they're the same way. They have a good time. Because I'm Italian. I played all the affairs, but I enjoy the Italian affairs. You should see how they are. I'm not speaking of catered affairs. Don't misunderstand me. Because I had a catered affair when I got married 22 years ago. I got married 22 years ago in the King's Highway Inn. King's Highway Inn. I rented the place. $10 a plate they charged me for person for the meal. And I had 10 cars from Finnecavers Funeral Home, $16 a piece. And I want to tell you, my mother-in-law, she should get it, that troublemaker. You know how the in-laws are in the Italian family, they don't talk to each other all the time, My mother-in-law says, I'm going to ride all by myself up the front. Hey, that Bhutan. You're going to ride up for the car with the flowers on top. That's the one you're going to ride. The troublemaker. She hired a guy. I was paying for the affair. She hired everybody. She hired a photographer. I think she was getting a kickback. This guy was taking pictures. He was all over. When I came out of the house, he was there with the camera. I got in the car. He was there with the camera. I came out. I got to the church. He was there with the camera. When we were standing by the altar, right? He was there with the camera behind the altar. And the priest is giving it this. We were the only ones that looked like we were doing something dirty. This guy took pictures coming out of the church, getting into the car, coming out of the car, into the affair, the King's Highway Inn. We got the cutting the cake. He put the cake in my mouth. I came into the men's room. He came with the camera. I says, hey, get out of here. Right? And we had the affair 6 o'clock at night. So picture this. 5 hours the cars drove around. $160 an hour, right? Now, when I get to the affair, I'm a little bit upset. I'm thinking of all this money that went. Am I right? Now I really got sick. I opened the first envelope. $2. Go ahead, laugh. I got all them names written down. I want you to know that. $2. I don't care who it is. That's what they're going to get. 20 years later, they're going to get that. My sister had it best. My sister, she saw that I lost money, so my sister hired a hall on Flushing and Sumner Avenue, the Imperial Manor. You know the place? It holds 1,500 people, am I right? $2 a person, $3,000, quit and get out, right? But she didn't scrimp, no, she had 2,000 cheese sandwiches. Yeah. The soda was Penguin, Midtown, Big Boy. The beer, Name Stuff, Ebling, Elhart, Silver Score, Canadian Ace. And the band, an 18-piece band, Uncle Dodo and his group. What a band. What a band. 14 mandolins, 2 guitars, a guy in a Jewish harp, and Uncle Dodo on the jug. Up below, the people that get them out of the house. Hey, wait a minute. Everything was going good. To Zio Dorito. My Uncle Sal opened his big mouth. He turns to the guy. He's half in a tank, and I don't know what's going on. He says to the guy, that girl is not good enough for my cousine, for my cousin. You know who he was talking to? The bride's father. You should have seen the fight. 1,500 referees. Hey, no fight. Hey, on the Sharia, that's best. The two contestants. Let me God kills on my face. Has to be done, Macho Gornud. Hey, no, let go. What is... They don't want to fight. And what's the last thing they do in an Italian wedding? You know what it is? The Grand March. Yeah, there's always a little guy directing them. And here they come. What a picture. What a picture they make. The bride's mother and father on this side with the sisters and brothers. On this side, the groom's mother and fathers and sisters and brothers. In the middle, a couple you see at every Italian wedding. Agumar and Ugumba. Let me describe this woman to you. 4'6", 228 pounds. Has a bun in the back of her head. Sometimes on both sides. She looks like an Italian out the Godfrey. Has a wart over here and here. A mustache, very light. 3 or 4 dozen curly hairs under the chin. And she looks like she's holding 2 kids by the head. Either that or she's smuggling in watermelons. She's got on the blue dress, you know, the one with the white polka dots. Down to the ankles with the track shoes on. And underneath this, she has on a corset. But not the kind of corset, you know, like today with the maiden form, cross your heart, you know. This is the kind with the metal rods, you know what I mean? She looks like an armadillo. That's in case Ogumbara thinks he's gonna forget about it. Sure that he'll forgive me, you forget it. Now, Ogumbara, have you seen him? He's shorter than her, fatter than her. He's got a big black belt on. He thinks he's a karate expert. He's always got his hat on. Where the hell he's going, we don't know. A white mustache with a Italian cigar, Perotti or Denoble. You've seen those. They look like something you find on the lawn in the morning. And he brings the envelope. Now you say, what do you use this envelope for? You use it for your honeymoon, of course. Well, it happened here in Florida. The hurricane struck. The kids have got the money already. They're ready to go. All transportation's at a standstill. The kid goes to his father. He says, Papa, what am I going to do? My honeymoon is ruined. The father says, hey, don't worry about nothing. You got a nice room up upstairs. Take your bite up upstairs. Domani mattina, tomorrow morning, when it all clears up, you go on your honeymoon. The room is located right above Mom and Papa's. Picture this. Papa begins to undress. He says, che bello ragazzo. What a nice boy. He look like his papa. He work hard like his papa. Just then upstairs you hear the bed squeak, squeak. He says, I'm a gun to that boy. Just like his papa. They said, Mama, let's show him, huh? They turn out the lights. 5 minutes later, the lights go back on. Papa says, hey, I'm just as good a man as I was 25 years ago. Just then upstairs you hear it again, squeak, squeak. He says, I'm a gun to that boy. He said, Mama, that's all. The once more. They close the lights. An hour later, this is Papa. Hey, what's that? Daru-san! Which means he should drop dead. Ayúdame, señora, but... What do you mean I cleaned it up? Just help me, God, I'm dying. Just then upstairs, you hear the bed again, squeak, squeak. He runs over, he bangs on the wall, he says, Giuseppe, what are you trying to do? Kill your mom. We're going to get everybody. Are there any Irish in the house? Where's the Irish? Help to get everybody, help them out. When Irish eyes are smiling, sure is like a morning spring. Come on. In the lilt of Irish laughter. Come on. Let me hear you. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world is right again. And when Irish eyes are smiling. You know why Irish eyes are smiling? Booze. Pat comes home one night, stoned out of his skull. He looks something like this. Let me show you. He's banging on the door. The old lady says, "You're not coming in. You're drunk again." He says, "If you don't let me in, I'm going to tell everybody on the block I slept with you before we were married." She says, "Go ahead and I'll tell him you wasn't the first." He comes home one night, he catches the old lady standing in front of a full-length mirror with no clothes on, giving it this. He says, "And what's this having you think you're doing?" She says, "I'm only doing what the doctor told me to do. He told me to watch me stomach, and that's what I'm doing." "Oh," he said, "did he say anything about your big fat Irish ass?" She says, "No, your name never came up at all." What? Oh, you want the McGinty story? This is a very... McGinty passed on. This guy wants to hear the McGinty story. McGinty passed on. He went to the great beyond. In 3 days, I don't know how true it is, but they say the Irish drink at wakes. But if it is a particular story, that's the way it happened. 3 days, the guy's in state, and finally, at the third day, one guy turns around and says, "Let's take him down to the tavern for a farewell drink." They lift McGinty out of the casket. They take him down to the tavern. They sit him down. Here's McGinty. "15 rounds later, everybody disappears. Who's left? McGinty. The bartender comes over. He says, "All right, who paid the check?" He said, "I said, who paid the check?" He reaches under the bar, gets a wet bar rag, hits him across the mouth. Well, the guy's dead. Naturally, he falls over. The crowd of people gather around. The cops come, the ambulance come, and the officer says, "All right, what happened here?" The bartender says, "Sure, help me, officer. I didn't hit him until he put a knife on me." And it was on St. Patrick's Day, my favorite tale is told. It's the story of the big Irish cop holding back the crowd, and he accidentally touches his expected mother in the tummy. An embarrassing situation. He's trying to recover himself by saying something clever. He looks down, he says, "Oh," he says, "it's a shame the little fella can't see the parade." She says, "Ah, it's all right. I got me pants off, he can hear the music." And my Irish eyes are smiling. Come on! So they steal your heart away. What? The show starts. We did about an hour 50, an hour and 20 minutes, and we ain't through yet, because now we're going to pick on the colored folks. They want equal rights. They're going to get it. There's 2 colored boys playing cards in heaven. One said, "Hey, what you got there?" He said, "I got 4 aces." He said, "What's your next highest card?" Two colored boys playing down below. One guy said, "What you got there?" He said, "I got 4 aces. What you got?" He said, "I got 4 fours and 2 44s. He said, "You win, mother." 2 colored boys in Rome. The Pope comes out on the balcony. One guy said, "Hey, who that over there?" He said, "Man, that's the Pope." He said, "Yeah, what he do around here?" He said, "He in charge of all the Catholics throughout the world." He said, "Yeah, how he get that job?" He said, "He is elected by the Cardinals." He said, wouldn't that be nice if the Giants did something like that for Willie Mays?" I got to give you this one. This is really cute. This is the latest story. This is the latest story to come out of Alabama. Here's a colored fella. This colored boy studies karate. He becomes an expert. 5 years. You know, you ever see guys study karate? He's got to warm up. You know how they warm up? They give it, ha, ha, ha. About 5 minutes of this, you know. Well, this guy is an expert now. He goes down to Alabama in a white area, in a white neighborhood, walks into a white saloon, sits down next to an Alabama, and he says, "You looking for trouble, boy?" And the Alabama says, "Who y'all talking to?" You see, he's white, but he talks like that, you know. He said, I'm talking to you. He said, you talking to me? He said, yeah. He said, you looking for trouble? He said, yeah. He said, you want to fight? He said, yeah. He said, let's go out in the alley. He said, okay. Now they go out in the alley. The colored boy warms up. Ha! Ha! Hey, this is karate. He said, 45. Alabama, 14 stories up, the building's on fire. Colored boy got to jump for his life. The fire department comes, they open the net, and there in the net it says KKK, Volunteer Fire Department. He looks down, he said, man, I'm Spanish! Oh, their mother, I'm Spanish! And the guy said, jump, jump, and while he's falling, he's yelling, I'm Spanish, and they went, ole! Oh, we gotta get trouble. I tell you what we're gonna do now, we're gonna pick on the Jewish folks. Are there any Jewish folks in the audience? Let's hear from the Jewish folks. Let's hear the applause. That's it? Wait a minute, we gotta hear it. Will you wait a minute? We gotta hear it now. Just the Jewish folks, please. Just the Jewish folks. Let's hear the Jewish folks. That's pretty close. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. All the Italians now. Just the Italians. I'm sorry, folks. The Guineas won it. I'm sorry. We try to be, fair is fair. That's it. The Italians and the Jews together. That's it, Italians. That's what I say. That's the best partnership in the world. Italian and a Jew. What they can buy wholesale, they steal. Everybody, come on. Let's hear it. Let's have a ball. Nagila Hava, Nagila Hava, Nagila Venus. Come on, sing it if you know it. Nagila Hava, Nagila Hava, Nagila Venus. Come on, everybody! Wait a minute. Let's talk about circumcision. I want to know about it. To me, it's like estimated tax. How can you cut it before you know how much you're going to need? Who would gamble like that? Thank God I wasn't born Jewish, I'd have been wiped out. Don't you Catholics laugh, because to the Jewish people, this is a religious function. Am I right, sir? It must be performed within 8 days. Is that right? Can you tell me why? Will it spoil, go bad? Why? What is it? What kind of thing is this? Everybody's in the kitchen. L'chaim! The kid's in the crib. Ah! I told you don't laugh, because we got our own thing going for us. You got to... He's laughing so hard his stomach hurts. Booger, don't laugh no more. Cry. Go ahead. Give him a rapping them out. Hurry up. But you see, we Catholics, we got our own thing going for us. We got confession, right? We go on Saturday, start all over again on Monday. Yeah. I used to go to confession every Saturday. I used to walk on the booth. I said, bless me, Father, I have sinned. He said, what'd you do? I said, well, I told a couple of risque stories. Oh, he says, which ones? I was in the booth 8.5 hours. The nuns are serving refreshments. I talk loud. I can't help it. The priest is on the floor doubled up. I thought he was praying. He was hysterical. I did this for 2 weeks. What do you think happened? The priest is doing my act in Chicago with the singing nuns. So don't laugh. But I want to tell you something. This religious function of the Jewish people's circumcision, a lot of people don't know this. If I ask you, sir, and I know you're not Jewish, who would you say performs this operation? Quickly. The rabbi. You see how wrong you are? It is not the rabbi. The rabbi does the praying. Does it, yes. I'm from Brooklyn. What do you want? I studied in college, elocution. E-L-E-C-T-R-I-C. Elocution. That's the stuff that makes the bulbs go. All right, I'll kid aside. No, really, the rabbi is not the guy who does this, No, it's the moil. Am I right, sir? The moil. Right? That's all he does all day long. At nights he works in Wolfies. In the coconuts department. Go down, Don't laugh. This is the lonesomest guy in the world. This is the lonesomest guy in the world. Let me tell you something. How many people invite him out to cookouts? You never hear anybody say, Moyle, toss a salad, make a hamburger. And God forbid he touches the hot dogs, the party breaks up early. But I knew a Moyle who was a philanthropist, donated $1 million to the Catholic Church. That's right. And when the rabbi asked him, how could you possibly afford to do this? He says, I raised the prices of circumcisions. He says, that's ridiculous. That's like robbing from Peter to pay Paul. Take your time. And I want to tell you something else. We're very lucky people. How many of you realize how lucky you are? You do the work you do. You can go home and talk to your wife and tell her all the wonderful things you do on the job, right? What is this guy going to come home? Tell his wife, Becky, look at the clippings. I mean, after all, let's face it. You can tell your friends, what is it? Come over to the house, everybody. Let's look at my clippings. He can't do that. And yet I knew a Moyle who was so proud of his work, he called up a taxidermist. Yeah, he says, come on over, take the box, put together, go ahead. A week later, the guy was back with a beautiful wallet. He says, He says, how much? He says, $85. He says, $85 for a wallet? The guy says, yeah, but this is special. You stroke it, it becomes a suitcase. You have to know about these things. And when it comes to business, that's a dirty one. And when it comes to business, you can't beat the Jewish people. Even on the golf course, they don't yell for. $3.98. I want to tell you, there's so many stories. One of the recent ones that I heard recently, which I thought was real cute, was about the two little Jewish guys. They're walking, passing a church, and one guy looks in, the doors are open, he says, look at that there, Gold in the altars, gold in the statues, gold in the glasses, and everything is gold. What kind of place is that? The other guy says, well, I passed last Sunday. He says, I think it's a bookie place. That's a gambling place. He says, I don't understand. What are you talking about? He says, when I passed, there was a fellow up there in the box yelling, I can beat anyone in dominoes, and the bookmakers are running down the aisle taking the bets. It was during the war out of my neighborhood. Out of my neighborhood in Flushing he came. PFC Goldberg. We used to call him Pifka for short, little fella. The captain called him in one day. He says, Goldberg, according to your record, you haven't had one encounter with the enemy. Why is that? He says, because I'm not a killer. He says, I wouldn't kill for you, for my wife, for the President of the United States, because I'm not a killer. I would. The captain says, calm down, I'll make a deal. For every dead Jap you bring back, I'll give you $1. He says, now you're talking. Within a half hour, he was back with 2 dead Japs. The captain paid him off $1 apiece. A week later, with a Jeep loaded with Japs. The captain didn't say a word, paid him off $1 apiece. 2 weeks later, with a 10.5-ton truck, like Food Fair's got the big ones. He's got it stacked 10 high, neatly on the windshields, on the running boards, all over the joint. The captain can't take him away. He pays him off. He says, Goldberg, I've been in the Army for 25 years. I've never seen a change in a man like you. How do you do it? How do you do it? He says, I buy him from the Marines for 35 cents a piece. And last but not least, they came down from New York City. They wanted to go to the Fontainebleau Hotel. As luck would have it, they end up to get a cab driver who's getting a gratuity from another place. 3 days later, they realize they're in the wrong hotel. He walks up to the desk clerk. He says, okay, buddy boy, the deception is over. I'm checking out. Well, the clerk is, all right, that's $30 for the room and $50 for the board. He says, what board? He says, the food. He says, I didn't eat any food. He said, well, it was there for you, sir. If you didn't eat it, it's your own fault. He says, what are you talking about? I didn't eat any food. Well, he said it was there for you, buddy. If you didn't eat it, it's your own fault. Now pay up. He says, don't holler on me like that, large mouth. He goes upstairs, grabs his wife, grabs his suitcases, comes down to the lobby, takes $30 out of his pocket, puts it on the desk clerk's desk, starts at the door. The desk clerk says, okay, buddy, come back here. Where's the other $50? He says, that's for fooling around with my wife. He says, I didn't fool around with your wife. He says, it was there for you if you didn't.
Don Sebastian, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, let's hear it. Very fabulous. How many stars the Aztec? Don Sebastian.